What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 90s First Podcasting Network. My name is Mike, and alongside my co-host Joe, we take a look at some 90s content that we just can't stop watching. Join us on our flagship show, the 90s First Show. We look at some 90s content that Joe and I are watching, as well as some current stuff, and we end it with a 90s trivia contest. Or join us on Test Your Might, a video game debate show where we battle it out on the current news. Joe hosts as our good buddy Cicero and I try to get the high ground and go 1000 IQ against each other. If you would like to connect with us, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the 90s First. And finally, if you would like to support us monetarily, we have a Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/the90sfirst to show general support for as little as $1 a month. So whether you're listening to the 90s First Show or Test Your Might, Joe and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope that you have a blessed day.
Go.
Hey there, everybody. I like Cicero's delayed go. That was perfect.
Yep.
How's it going? Ow, 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 ow. What am I doing? How's it going, everyone? I can't talk tonight. I was reading Opener and completely got lost. That was fun. How are you guys doing?
Are you talking to the people in podcast land, or are you talking to us?
I'm talking to you guys. I wish I could talk directly to the people listeners. I love you guys. And if you want to call in and be part of this, DM us and let us know. Maybe we can make that happen. Yeah. But if I'm asking questions, it's generally these two boneheads right here.
Well, so I'm wearing a hoodie right now. You said that, people can call in. You'd love to see if that can happen. I'm going to quote Kevin Garnett and say, anything is possible. So, wait, you got that reference.
Wait, you get that sports ball reference, but you don't get other sports ball references?
Right. It's in a song.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Lonely Island song, by the way.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just shared. This is Cicero, by the way. Right. This is yes.
We are off the rails. Yes. What up, listeners? Hey, if you tuned in for Test Your Might, that's what you found. Although it doesn't happen to sound like it, you're exactly where you're meant to be.
You're exactly where you're meant to be. Hey guys. Right.
I just can't stop. I can't stop.
Is he talking about Jack Sparrow? The Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey guys, I'm Stubby Stan. I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm talking about anything is possible. Sports ball references that Joe Jelly, our host, does not get, but Mike and I do get. I have just shared with them a gem of all gems. If you are not familiar with the man, myth, and legend action figure that is NyQuil Jordan, pause your recording. Stop. Go to Google.
Pause the cast.
And go to not your recording. You're not recording. You're listening. So pause this. Pause this. Look up NyQuil Jordan. And you're welcome. I'd
just like to say thank you for all the listeners out there for introducing us to NyQuil Jordan. Which, of course, I'm going to pause my recording. Paused. Yeah, boom. Done. Yes. We're going to come back to this. I'm not actually doing it.
Okay, thank you.
It was for the listeners. But no. Anyways, hey, welcome to Test Your Might. It is our weekly video game debate show. We've got NyQuil Jordan over there and Mike here to debate once again. I would love it if listeners and watchers alike would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, because that's the only place that does reviews, and we would love for you to tell us how we're doing.
I have heard that Podchaser does reviews as well. So if you're on Podchaser, go ahead and do that too.
Wham bam. There's way too many podcastings. Wherever you're listening, hey, try and review us. Review us.
So.
We're on everything, but wherever you're listening, rate us high. And we'll do better in the algorithms, and your friends will find us when you tell them about us. So tell your friends. I'm looking at you. You guys ready for question of the day?
Sure. After this off-the-rails stuff.
We are doing the series favorite game from a genre, and I'm going first this time. The genre is puzzle game, and I'm making sure these two guys don't take my game. It's Portal
Dang it.
and Portal 2 because it is my favorite puzzle game, and I knew one of them was going to try and steal it. Portal is my favorite. It's amazing. It inspired our blind fight today. I'm excited for you guys to get there, but I love Portal. I love the puzzle aspect of it, and I really love the AI trying to kill you aspect of it. It's super fun for me.
Okay, I love Portal as well. Cicero, you good over there?
You have to pick a new one.
You de-hoodied.
Yes, I have de-hoodied because I think my rambling has turned on a device in my basement. I don't know. I hear
Alexa?
music.
Google?
I hear
Alexa.
music.
Siri?
Yes. There is something that has decided to broadcast.
Turns out Cicero also has a rebellious AI in his home.
Yes.
Hopefully it's not Gladys.
The cake is a lie. Is it my turn?
No, it's
favorite-
mine.
No.
Favorite
Mike
puzzle
Yeah.
game.
Mike chose what Joe chose. I win.
He
No,
tried
I
to
didn't
choose
choose
Portal.
He chose it before me. I'm going to say we're going all the way back to the Super Nintendo. And one of my favorite games of all time, Tetris Attack.
Tetris.
Not Tetris, but Tetris Attack. So basically the United States, or the Western version of Puyo Puyo Tetris, which you had a
It's
increasingly...
a family-friendly show.
Yep. You had an increasingly climbing, bar of different style or different shapes, like stars, triangles, hearts, stuff like that, and you had to match them. So kind of like Candy Crush, where you're matching the things, but you are racing against the clock and trying to keep that rising tower of shapes down at the bottom. So you could play it against other people and throw bricks at them, throw attacks at them, and stuff like that. Tetris Attack was based on Yoshi's Island. That's how they created that game. So yeah, super fun puzzler. I grew up playing that game against a lot of people in my apartment complex. Yeah, so Tetris Attack.
All right. What was the other one called?
Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Puyo Puyo Tetris.
If you have Switch Online, you could play the Super Nintendo version of Puyo Puyo Tetris. They haven't released Tetris Attack yet on there. So
Nice. All right, Cicero, favorite puzzle game.
his favorite puzzle game is figuring out what's going on in his house.
Yeah, right.
It's a good game.
You guys have presented me with some challenges because you have presented two of my favorite games, but I will pull out yet another one
Missed.
and say
Say, find the Alexa.
Luminous from
So
Luminous from the PlayStation Vita.
yeah, so good.
Long live the Vita. It
No,
was a
PSP,
Tetris style
PSP.
Yeah, not PS Vita.
One of those handheld PlayStation devices.
But yeah, from the PSP. But yeah, a game that was similar to Tetris but added music elements to it. Much like the music elements that are being played in my background right now that are driving me insane. I hope you guys can hear them, but actually I hope you can't hear them because then we get strike.
Alexa, shut up.
Right. I don't know which one it is. I don't think it's Alexa.
As Cicero
I have no idea what's going
intently
on.
searches for
Talk
the
amongst
noises behind him.
yourselves.
We're going to talk about what we've been playing. Mike, have you been able to dive into Mass Effect 2 yet?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've dove in. That's not a word.
You dove in?
I know, yeah, I dove in. Yeah, sure. This podcast is fun. So yeah, I have, ever since we've talked last, I have not gotten the opportunity to play more Mass Effect 2. Life's been kind of busy, but The biggest thing for me is that I've been deciding to play Apex the past couple weeks or the past week or so, because they did release an update, and they did this like whole collection event called the Genesis Collection event, and they brought back the original Kings Canyon map and the original World's Edge map. So I've been choosing to play Apex this past week just to kind of relive my nostalgia for those maps and kind of go back to where it all began. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's really cool to experience some of those original maps with some of the newer characters. I think that's really fun. I've been listeners. I if I don't have friends to play with, I usually queue up solo and try to win a solo duos match. And yeah, just flying around with Valkyrie and chasing some teams and attacking them. Pretty fun. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. But if you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber right now, you can download the Space Jam game for free. They made a Space Jam like beat 'em up side-scrolling game based on the new movie coming out, and so I tried that for a little bit, and it's actually pretty fun. I mean, it's reminiscent of those old 90s like pixel art beat 'em up games like Double Dragon and stuff like that. And basically, one of the cool things is that you always have a basketball in your hand, but you could utilize that basketball as a weapon. So you could hold X to charge the basketball and throw it really hard against your enemies, or you could hold X to charge the basketball, press A, so you're jumping, and then you release X, and it throws like a ground pound like basketball on the floor that explodes all your enemies that are in that particular vicinity.
Nice.
You could play as Bugs Bunny, LeBron James, and Lola Bunny, and so you have like a dash attack. You have just regular punching attack and different weapon attack like that. And so yeah, it's kind of fun. It's just a little beat 'em up thing. It's one of the things that's really cool that adds a level of strategery, but also just like a level just like changing from the formulaic beat 'em up brawler is there's a card system. So you could choose a card to bring into the game with you that regenerates. And so the card that I chose, because I am terrible at these games actually, is the health card. So whenever I press Y, a bunch of food scatters around the floor, and you can eat the food for health. This card regenerates as you defeat enemies, so you can't constantly spam it. So utilize it wisely, and then defeat more enemies to have a gain access to it again. So yeah, I was just having a little fun with that. That's what I've been playing.
Space Jam Legacy side scroller, and Apex original Kings Canyon and World's Edge maps. Ooh, words are hard. Cicero, did you find that noise? Better yet, what games have you been playing?
Yes, I did. I have exterminated that noise with extreme prejudice.
Nice.
And the games that I have been playing, so if you guys have been remiss, or if you've been wondering, my love affair with Outriders.
Oh yeah.
So we had a little break.
All right.
We took a break from each other for a little bit. Like it seemed like that the flame was starting to simmer,
sputtering,
and we didn't want it to go out, so we just took a little break, and then we came back together, and the flame burned a little bit brighter because they added some new content. Well, not necessarily new content. There's like new drop rates and stuff like that for the game. So I jumped in really quickly to check it out, see what was going on, and it seems like it's really cool. I think I'm gonna jump back into Outriders in a little while, but not just yet. Then I've been playing again, still more Sea of Thieves. Been playing the Pirates Life, the Pirates Life DLC. It has been very good. It's very fun. It's really involved. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I've definitely been enjoying that. And boy, does it really does look good on. Actually, so I've played it now on the PC. Played it on the PC for the very first time, and I played it on my Series X. And in both spaces, it looks very, very good. So if you've got a Series X or a Series S and you've got a 4K TV and all that other jazz, then you'll be able to get some really good visuals out of that game. Game's still a ton of fun to play. And outside of that, I've basically been playing things that I've been playing in the past. So I started playing some more Call of Duty again in the new season. I've been playing some FIFA. Roger is still kicking my butt, but I'm getting better, and we're going back and forth. The trick, guys, is to randomize the team. So he's got a team that he really likes that he wants to play with that is really good. But he's better than me. So we randomize the teams. So that way I could wind up getting a really good team and he could get a really poor team, and that levels things out. And then, then we'll see who wins. And I'm doing okay. But I could also get a really poor team and he could get a really good team. Then he kicked my butt. Yeah, I've been playing that. Been playing some baseball, playing some 2K. Checking out stuff about Madden, getting ready for the Madden season. I'm actually pretty high on Madden this year because of some things that have happened. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's it. Those are the games.
Nice. I've been playing the usual Apex when I get the chance. But lately, it's felt like life has been a bit busy. It's been hard to actually get games in. So I've played not as much as I want to of the new Genesis event, but I have played enough to experience it. I have invested into Apex, so I got some of the skins. I like them. These are some of my favorite skin drops that they've had. They finally got some other properties. So there's a Voltron skin in there, which is absolutely dope.
I don't think it's actually Voltron, though.
It
Because it kind of is, because the mask looks like Gundam.
Yeah, it's based off of Voltron and Gundam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I'm just a big nerd for those things. Right. And they put it in the game, and it's a game that I love. So, yeah, I actually spent money on it.
Spent some moolah.
Yeah, it was $20, but I play it, and I feel like it's worth it. I know everyone justifies things like this exactly the same, and though it may not be great, hey, I did it anyways, and I love it. And I think that's the important part. If we're going to be spending money on something, you better love it.
Absolutely.
And I do. So, yeah, I've been playing Apex when I get the chance to, and other than that, I haven't been playing anything else. I need to try the side-scroller. I know we're going to talk about it on our other podcast, so I'm going to have to download that this week and jump into Space Jam Legacy, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I've just been calling it Space Jam LeBron because he's in it. So
Space Jam LeBron version.
Who needs a real name? This is going to lead us into the news segment, and kind of a big one. One that I know that we've talked about off podcasting. Now we're going to talk about it on the podcast. But reports have come out about how hard it is for smaller devs, game developers, to work with PlayStation and get their games listed. So, Mike, I know you were big on this one. Tell more about it, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so basically just some Twitter threads were being thrown around about some people discussing how difficult as a smaller developer, like an indie developer, it is to not only get your game on the PlayStation console, but to work with PlayStation to allow your game to have discoverability, right? So like one of the things with Xbox, and I don't want to turn this into a console war thing. But I do want to talk about how simple it is, at least from my mind's eye, that Game Pass helps with some of this stuff. Like, it seems like Game Pass, like, is allowing these, or, not necessarily allowing, but also paying these smaller developers in some form, some way. I mean, it's money, but like, whether it's contractual or whether it's just like a sign-on bonus type thing for getting their games onto Game Pass, which allows and gives them the ability for discoverability, as well as Xbox is really good with working with indies to try to get them on the forefront of, the front pages of like Game Pass or whatever, doing like deals on them. They're always active on their Twitter. And so I texted even Cicero. I was talking to Jelly as well about this article, or not article, but this Twitter thread about this smaller game developer who was just describing his issues with trying to get his game onto PlayStation. He uses the nomenclature Platform X, but it's very clear that he means PlayStation in this Twitter thread. So yeah, I mean, I think it's. At one point he says, this is Ian Gardner on Twitter. He says, there is a way to guarantee you get featured. All you need to do is spend a very reasonable minimum of $25,000 to get featuring. Oh, and then 30% of your subsequent earnings go to PlayStation. So I don't know. I just think it's something that we should talk about, like, because I think one of the most important things about this to me is that, and we have talked about this on the podcast before, but I am getting to the point in my life with the 3 kids that I have, with the lifestyle that I have, with the time that I have, that indie games are like my bread and butter right now because of their time commitment, because their accessibility, and so I just really think it's important that we need to highlight this. So yeah.
Cicero, what do you think, man?
This is gonna sound weird for a second, but you know what? Sony doesn't have to do it, right? I think they come from a standpoint of, or from a perspective of, we're the cock of the walk. We're the big fish. We're the big players. It's the privilege. You have the privilege of publishing your content on our platform. So therefore, like, we've got the player base. So you want to be where the player base is. So you've got to work with us to make sure that you get your stuff seen. That's not on us. The gamers are there. They can find your games. They find everybody else's games. If they don't find your game, that's on you. But the gamers are here, so you come here. Whereas other organizations are saying, hey, look, we want to either here are our requirements for being able to publish a game on our platform, and we're going to open up those tools for you and give you some space, and there's a representative built in within our infrastructure to kind of work with you through that process and help to direct you to the right people to try and give you the type of exposure that a game of your status should garner or could garner, and help you guys succeed with us. PlayStation doesn't feel like they need to do that. So if they don't feel like they need to do that, that kind of, it is what it is. But you've got games like Fall Guys that, that was an indie darling that popped up out of nowhere that they put on PlayStation Plus, and it did incredibly well. Those are going to be the games that Sony props up and says, well, it worked fine for Fall Guys. Why didn't it work for you? It's not us. It's a you thing. Whereas on other platforms, You got games that are really cheap, relatively cheap, and small, have small footprints that will allow you to download those games on a device like the Switch. And then you've got games on the Nintendo platform or on the Microsoft platform on the Xbox, where they can go into this service that has built-in discoverability. Like it encourages discoverability, it encourages browsing, and then there are already systems that are built in to highlight and promote upcoming games in different genres, and it knows, based on your playing habits and your playing history, games to recommend to you that are in similar veins or in similar styles or what have you. So like that infrastructure is built in, and Sony doesn't give a crap about building that infrastructure. They don't have to.
They don't. I see that. I've been actually looking through a lot of polls recently and seeing what people are playing, and I noticed that even though Xbox has Game Pass and has this thing that is super amazing, I noticed that a lot of the polls still swing not super heavy, but pretty heavy towards PlayStation.
Sure.
I making up number just based on the polls I've seen, but more than half, and I'd say roughly 55 to 60% of gamers still choose PlayStation or play on PlayStation over Xbox. And I feel like I got from reading the thread and what this guy said that it was not only difficult to get like noticed on their platform, but it was even difficult to get them to accept him onto their platform, period. He didn't know what requirements he had to meet. He didn't know what things he had to do, and they were seemed point blank refusing to tell him. He just had to submit and either pass or fail, and then resubmit, pass or fail, resubmit, pass or fail. Yeah. Even though they don't have to do these things, I feel like they should be at least a little transparent in what you need to have moving onto their platform. And it maybe for the big developers maybe big developers just have worked with them for so long that they know these things, that they know the requirements they have to meet beforehand. But I would hope that they would see it as a benefit to them to make it easy for game developers to get onto their system, not just notice on their platform, but just to get on. And you said his name was Ian Gardner.
Yeah.
It seems like Gardner. It seems like he was having a hard time even getting his game onto their platform point blank. And I hope that's not the case. I hope that maybe he got it on there and he was just having issues with discoverability, and maybe we could reach out to him and see, or just text, tweet him on his thread. But you feel like with such a big developer, I mean, there's not a ton of there's not a ton of platforms to play on. You're basically got, Atari's new in it, or back in it, but you have Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, which could be considered Xbox, but technically there's Steam and other things.
Right.
There's other Steam, clients on there. Yeah. But those ones, it doesn't seem like they've been an issue for him, and he specifically says that PC he was able to, Xbox he was able to. Right. He didn't mention Nintendo, so maybe he didn't try them, and maybe they're also one that is notoriously difficult to possibly get on and noticed on.
Nintendo's not though. Like if you look at the huge list of indies on Switch,
on their library,
insane.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I agree with you, Cicero. Like even though you can say this sentence, it still doesn't. Although I agree with you, even though you could say this sentence, it's still a little icky. But like, PlayStation has quote unquote earned the right to be picky, with what they allow, with what restrictions they put on it. And that's rough. It's rough to say, but it is true. So I agree with you there, Cicero. But I know that also. I know, Cicero, I know you also agree with our side. You're just being the devil's advocate here because you always are.
Yeah. Well, but also I think that like stating what I think is happening doesn't necessarily mean that I am stating what I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and in this case, I'm stating what I think is happening, but what I think is that Sony is going to regret the way that they have positioned themselves, almost in an antagonistic way stance to the consumer. And it's not fully, not to the level that Microsoft positioned themselves at the beginning of the Xbox One generation. But I do think that in the face of specifically Microsoft's very customer-friendly outlook and ecosystem that they've created, and Sony's unwillingness to even really kind of address the fact that that exists in a real way, is something that I think that they're going to regret in the long run over the course of this generation, because I really do think that people are going to, in the world that we live in, where all of our services are streaming, and we've got all of these subscription services, they're going to regret not being proactive with coming up with a solution that addresses the way industries are going, right? Like just things on the internet.
Yeah.
I think if and when we get new consoles beyond the PlayStation 6 and whatever, Xbox Series 2X or whatever it is,
It'll be some dumb name because Microsoft can't get it together.
Right. I think that they will have changed their tune, but will it be too late to be the dominant console? Because it's not like they're gonna be in third place or something like that. They're right. But they're. I do think that it's going to impact their the perception that they are the leader in the playhouse on the playground.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I would just, with how everything is, and there's so many choices now, and with the price point for admission, even if you bought a 3-generation old PC hardware setup, you're looking at $500 to $1,000 depending on how high end you want to go.
Right.
And that's same as an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 if you can get them at retail. Right. So I think if you want to jump into the sphere of gaming, you should be doing your utmost to invite everyone to the table. And I think that means making sure that the game developers can get on your platform. I feel like that should be, the base. The bare minimum is, hey, we're going to make it easier for you to get on here so that we can have more people on our thing.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're not thinking about that. I think they're probably just being a little bit picky. Hey, we want the best on here because if you're coming to here, we're going to offer you only the good stuff, and we get to determine what that is. Hasn't been a bad business model for their success. But like you said, for their continued success and future success, it seems a bit questionable.
Right. Agreed.
Y'all want to fire through some topics?
Sure.
Rapidly.
Possibly
only if it's rapidly.
Yeah.
Dang it, you took my line. Rapid fire. PlayStation has acquired both Housemarque and Nixxes for their studio lineup. Mike? Talking about PlayStation, are these some good acquisitions?
Yeah, they are. I mean, Housemarque just made Returnal, and Returnal was nothing short of successful. And Nixxes is primarily a studio that ports games to PC. So the rumor and the speculation is that they are going to utilize their expertise to port some of the PlayStation exclusives over to PC, which, you know, is more power to the players. Players on PC have another means to play PlayStation games.
Once again, back on top with PC.
Yeah, I mean, you know, PlayStation, as Cicero alluded to in the last topic, PlayStation has fantastic games, and they don't have to put them onto the PC, but it does look like they are being more open to that option. So
that'd be pretty awesome. Cicero, Control multiplayer spinoff announced with more Control games on the way. Did you play Control? Were you a fan of it? And are you looking forward to a Control style multiplayer spinoff?
Those are a lot of questions that I have to answer rapidly. I am going to say I have not played Control. It's an action game like action games, but a spooky game. Not a big fan of spooky, but multiplayer Control, sure, go ahead and do it. More games in the Control universe, people seem to like them. So if you can do something cool in that universe, then I say go right ahead and do it. Especially if you're going to put it on Game Pass. If it's going to be available on Game Pass, then I don't have to worry about spending extra money to try a thing.
Yep.
I'll try a thing if it's not going to cost me a lot. Right? So, and you never know. You try it, you may like it.
I downloaded Control. I even played a little bit.
It's not too
Control. Scary yet.
Yes. I also
I
downloaded
only played for
Control.
5 minutes. So
yeah.
Literally 5 minutes.
There you go.
All
Good
right.
job.
Elder Scrolls. Oh, I'm having trouble
Elder Rolls.
today, people.
Elder Rolls.
I love you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I love
Egg
rolls.
rolls?
I'm a bread
Elder-
fan. So
Elder
Elder
Rolls.
Scrolls 6 is still in design phase, according to Todd Howard. Cicero, back to you for this one.
Okay.
Switched it up.
You did.
Boom, what do you think?
I was ready for a really good answer too. Dang it.
If Cicero doesn't answer well enough, I'll switch to you. How's that?
Oh, All
Pressure's
right.
on,
Pressure's
Cicero.
on. Hold on. Get my hood ready.
He's situated. Okay, be a rabbit. Let's do it.
Right. Spaghetti.
Yes. So yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is still in design phase, according to Mr. Howard.
Okay.
Todd, not Ron.
Yes. Opie Cunningham. Let's go.
Yep. What do you think? Tell me.
What do I think? I think he's right. He's the CEO of Bethesda.
Are you looking forward to it? Is this a good thing? Did you play Elder Scrolls? You want to get into it? You want to dive into it? You want to know more about it?
I mean,
It was a fast answer. It was rapid.
yeah. So, when Elder Scrolls comes out, I'll be excited to play it because it's an Elder Scrolls game. But until it's ready to go, then, I'm excited to hear Todd Howard tell us that it's not ready yet. And so it's not like I'm disappointed by the fact that he said it's even further, it's probably further away than we thought it was. But I'm not worried about that because I've got plenty of other games just from Bethesda to play. Now that, again, because the entire damn library from Bethesda is open on Game Pass now. There are so many games. I could play one of those games until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. Right? Those games are built that way that I could just play one of them. Right. I could just play one of them until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. And there's 16 of those types of games that are in the library for me to play, and I haven't played 15 and a half of them. So, okay, it's not ready, but let me know when it's ready.
Perfect answer. Mike, Xbox Cloud Gaming is now fully available to all Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. You cloud gaming like crazy right now?
No, I'm not, because I ain't got the interwebs to do it. No, I think it's really cool that everybody has the opportunity to just subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate and cloud game. I mean, that's one of the conversations that I've been having with some folks recently, is that specifically about Bethesda and their exclusive games coming to Xbox only. It's like, you realize if the barrier to entry to play those games has never been cheaper. Like,
right.
just
Ever.
get a decent internet connection and pay $15 to play Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out, and you're all good. Right. So, I mean, yeah.
Boom. All right.
You could also get a controller.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Grab a controller. If you don't already have one. Let's be real. Most people have a controller. Boom. You know what this means, though? It is time to test your might.
I do have one thing that I need to mention before we go into Test Your Might. Yes, I do. It's very
All right,
it's very
go for it.
important. So Sean Rugg, friend of the show.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Sean sent me an image the other day, and he said, let's see if I could try to find it.
Was it his happy face after winning a debate against Cicero? Because he had to try it twice.
No, it wasn't. So basically, Sean, I get this random text from Sean, and he goes, no wonder you guys talk about Game Pass all the time, because he sent me a picture of an image of a Game Pass game that he's playing, and one of the characters' names is Jelly. And so, listeners, surprise, we're sponsored by Game Pass.
If you didn't know, I'm in a video game. You're welcome.
And that's why we have to talk about it all the time. Anyway.
Well, there's got to be at least one character in a Game Pass game named Mike. And
yeah, I'm assuming.
And
Cicero
then,
too.
of course, in Elder Scrolls, which one is that? Skyrim. There's a character named Cicero.
Oh, okay.
So
We're all famous.
yeah,
Dang, look at us go.
So we're.
I don't know which game I'm in. I wish I knew, but hey, now that we're past that,
Right.
are we ready to test your might?
Yes.
I see Cicero's obviously ready. Mike, do you have a hood that you can possibly throw up? Maybe a hat you could position backwards, like Ash does.
There we go. All right.
Oh, boxing style. Yes, I like it.
Right.
If you're watching on YouTube, you clearly understand, but Mike has just draped a blanket over himself.
Yes.
And that counts as a hood. It's basically the
Right.
same
It's
thing.
got tassels, guys.
It is a bear's blanket.
I can't
And
see.
it does have tassels. It looks like you have like ridiculous hair right now. I kind of like it.
Yes.
Keep doing it.
Yes.
All right. The moment we've all
Like
been waiting for.
you just came back from Jamaica.
It's all beaded and dreads. Yes. All right. Let's do this, Palpatine. NetherRealm is stopping DLC production on Mortal Kombat 11 because they're working on their next game. If it isn't, and we're saying it cannot be, so it cannot be Injustice 3, what property should get the Mortal Kombat treatment? And Mike, you can go first.
Ah, dang it, I didn't want to go first. Always picking me first.
That's not true. You went second last time.
What? No. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's not going to be one property, but it's going to be a conglomerate of similar properties, right?
Okay.
And they've kind of done this a little bit in their Mortal Kombat games, with their guest characters. Some of their guest characters are famous horror film villains. And so I know I'm not preaching
This is
to
true.
the correct choir, so I'm going to have to argue this pretty well because Jelly does not like horror films. But
Yep.
I do believe that it would be an extremely fun game if you take a bunch of the horror villains, like you got Michael Myers, you got Jason Voorhees, you got Freddy Krueger, you even got Chucky doing his doll thing. I don't know how he's going to win any fights, but he's gonna.
What about little tricycle saw guy?
Yeah, you got that guy. You have his name's Jigsaw, by the way.
Sure. I know he had a name. Totally seen those movies.
You got Pinhead from the Hellraiser saga. You got Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it'd be
do know that one.
really cool. And what is up NetherRealm's wheelhouse? It is grotesque, realistic seeming gore, right? And that's what these horror film iconic villains could bring to the table. I think they should do a horror film fighting game. Be fun.
All right. Cicero.
Yeah.
NetherRealm. Their next property. It isn't Injustice 3. So what is it?
All right, so you've got to be cognizant of who NetherRealm is, who they work for, what the parent company is when you're deciding on what properties they should work with. So who owns NetherRealm? Isn't that Warner? Warner Entertainment?
Warner Brothers, yeah.
Warner Brothers?
The WB.
The WB? The Bs?
If you're about to pull a Looney Tunes fighting game out your butt,
Listen, not only are we going to have the Looney Tunes, but we're going to have a Hanna-Barbera fighting game.
yeah.
The Looney Tunes versus Hanna-Barbera. So we've got Bugs. We've got Daffy, right? But we've also got Tom, and we've got Jerry, and we've got Fred, and we've got Barney. Oh, we also have Scooby and Shaggy. So let's go with our Cartoon Network fighters. There we go. That is the next game by NetherRealm.
Gotta say,
Network
I like
fighters
it.
with all
I
the
like
WB.
it, but
The WB, all the WB
yeah,
fighters.
I like it. I like it, but
Let's
listen. First of all, you have to, even though, okay, I understand that Warner Brothers owns NetherRealm and that, you know, they could automatically draw from that property. Sure, whatever. But you have to play to NetherRealm's strengths. And their strength is gore, right? Their strength is this over-the-top gore type of fighting game in like breaking bones and stuff like that, right. And it just brings in to what NetherRealm's core is and their ability to create a fighting game that is rooted in that. And so bringing in the horror film icons, that just kind of makes sense, right? You got Michael Myers like just breaking bones left and right, stabbing people with his butcher knife. You got Jason Voorhees, who has already been in the game, right? He could just be a returning character. You already got his move set. It would make an easy transition for their next game. One of the things that, first of all, you are never going to think that I'm going to bring this up, and so that's why it's a surprise. One of the things that's really cool is that they already have a movie that is a concept of this whole idea. Ladies and gentlemen, the cult classic Freddy vs. Jason brings in an element here that would be really fun to play out in a video game, right? Freddy vs. Jason, sorry, spoilers. Maybe if you want to skip like 2 seconds here. Freddy vs. Jason doesn't end with one person winning, right? But rather, you got Jason bringing out Freddy's head that's chopped off, but Freddy gives a wink at the end, right? And so it'd be cool to have a video game to kind of figure out who's actually going to win, right? To kind of write these stories as we battle each other in the game. Let's say you're online with me and we're fighting it out, and you want to be Freddy and I want to be Jason. We're gonna duke it out and actually figure out who wins at the end of Freddy vs. Jason. I think they have a concept already with this movie that kind of helps them out and brings it into the fold.
Mike, that was a beautiful imagination that you had there, but let me paint you a picture. You were playing as Wile E. Coyote versus, I don't know, Fred from Scooby-Doo. He's got his ascot on. He's sitting there, and you've hit a certain button combination, and out of nowhere comes a telegram with an Acme package, and in the Acme package is, I don't know, a cannon or something crazy that Wile E. Coyote can use as his moveset to hit Fred. And then instead of where we would normally see what you've said is, NetherRealms, one of NetherRealms' blood and bread and butters, which is this like that X-ray effect and all of the special things that we get, instead of the X-ray effect breaking the bones, what we see is an X-ray of the cannonball going into Fred's body and stretching his body out, and you seeing the stars, or catching a hit on top of his head and watching the lump form and the birds tweet around as he becomes dizzy, and you can do the next set of moves. Think of the types of finishers that you could have from a Looney Tunes or a Tom and Jerry or a Scooby-Doo themed fighting video game, as opposed to the finishers that you get in a Injustice or Mortal Kombat game. So they can be just as brutal without being as gory. And I think that gives them another level of inventiveness that NetherRealm can put in their quiver of assets that they have.
One final thing, Jelly, before you call. You talk about finishing moves. Well, horror film icons already have their fatalities built in. There's so many iconic kills that they have in their movies that they could just implement into the games.
Been there, done that. Like, you're basically saying, all right, well, keep all the same movesets from the Mortal Kombat games and just use movie villains.
No, I'm not saying that. There's only been like 3 of the villains in the Mortal Kombat games.
Right. So then so you're just adding more villains.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing.
No, they're not. They're all different.
All right. I've heard enough.
Yeah, so have I.
Now, here's what's happening.
Okay.
Mike, I think you win this one because you gave the best explanation of why they should do this. And then you gave me a very clear picture of what it looks like, how it plays out, everything. You laid it out beautifully.
But I'm playing the heck out of Cicero's game.
Now, I want to play Cicero's game better because his game, I think, would be better. I'm almost positive that Looney Tunes versus literally, you get the Animaniacs up in there. You get all of them. Like, you get so many people, and like you get fun things. Like Einstein was there.
Right.
You get classic historical figure. I'm playing Cicero's, but Mike, you won the fight because you did a better job in the actual debate. You did wonderfully. Cicero, I love your game. I wish that they would do a Looney Tunes inspired fighter. Yeah,
NetherRealms, holla at your boy.
Man, okay. Mike, you on that one. Are you ready for the next one? It's going to be a doozy.
Put up your dukes.
EA is bringing back Dead Space, reportedly, but remaking it like Resident Evil 2 instead of having it a straight remaster. So, what dormant franchise should get this treatment? Not a remaster, but a remake. Cicero, you get to go first because Mike won the last round. You can I say you can either go now or you can pass first off to Mike.
Wait,
and
what?
Make him go first.
What?
Yeah.
He
I will
gets
go
the
first.
Power.
I will go first. My question is, when we say who else gets this treatment, are we also talking about a horror game?
No.
Any dormant
franchise.
So
Getting the remake treatment over a remaster treatment.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
instead of just
let's
being
go
brought
in and
back
remake.
made
Right.
pretty. They get a do-over to make the
Right.
game better, different, however you want to.
So then, my choice, since it doesn't have to be a horror series, my choice will be a horror series, and I'm going to say Silent Hill.
Oh, okay. We'll stop right there.
Right. That's
Let's
why
hear
I'm stopping
Mike's.
right there. Yeah, you can, present his thing, and then I'll tell you why mine wins this time.
Yep. I like it. Mike, which dormant franchise is getting the remake that it needs, deserves, should have had, should have been? What are you thinking? I'm seeing the cogs turn.
I'm gonna tug at Cicero's heartstrings here a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We ready?
I'm gonna tug a little bit because listeners, if you know Cicero well, he definitely remembers things from the past, right? So I'm gonna remember something that he said last week.
Okay.
All right, to bring you into the fold here. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cicero, take it away. Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. So one of the great things about Silent Hill was that it introduced the stereo audio component of mixing games, which was really kind of unheard of before you had games on CD, on discs, that you really couldn't do it. And Silent Hill added that stereo component. So as you were using your radio, as you got closer to monsters, you could hear them coming from the left or the right in the game. And that was revolutionary, along with the fog effect that they had in both the original game and the remake that they had on, I think, on the PS3. But now you can add Dolby sound with Atmos, right? You can do more with sound mixing. You can do more with resolution. You can do things with ray tracing to add to that effect in the game to make the game more dynamic. You can use all of the tools that are at your disposal this time around, like you could back in the PlayStation 1, but the tools that are at your disposal are so much more dynamic. You can make a much more immersive, scary, and kind of frightening, atmospherically frightening game with Silent Hill.
All right. Mike. Midnight Club.
Yes.
You
Who am I?
are
That
having,
midlight-
You're having a little trouble tonight, Jelly.
Yes.
No.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that both of us are arguing for horror games because, let me tell you, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition was frightening good. That's how good it was.
Frighteningly good.
it was
Yes.
it was just too good, man. And to be honest, it's a racing game that I would love to see come back. Once again, Cicero, I'm gonna hit you at your heartstrings as well.
Uh-oh.
Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition had a fantastic soundtrack.
It did.
It had a
Absolutely.
really, really good soundtrack, and so
It did.
you talk about sound as well. I'm simply talking soundtrack here. You know, bringing it up to snuff with what's going on in today's world, having a really good upbeat soundtrack. I do think that it could do like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater route, the remaster that they did. What they did is they brought back pretty much all of the original music, but also added some new age tracks to that soundtrack to create a soundtrack that is up to our times. So you could do that with Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. But I think what really is missing in a lot of racing games nowadays, because we're talking about Forza Horizon, we're talking about Forza Motorsport as well, Gran Turismo 2, and some of the recent Need for Speeds, is that the campaign and kind of the story behind why you're doing these races hasn't been up to snuff recently, right? And that's what Midnight Club had, right? It had kind of an engaging story behind the races that you were doing. And so I think you could create a cool new story to bring it around to the new age as well. But also you have, as you talk, you have that tech too behind it. I mean, give this remaster to Playground Games, right? I mean, they make Forza Horizon. That's pretty much what is the spiritual successor to all of those, original games. And you could remake Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition in that sense, ray tracing and all, just like Cicero.
All right, you wanna slap back at that, Cicero?
Yeah. Well, what I will say is that while I do miss and have a really tender and soft spot in my heart for Midnight Club Dub Edition, specifically, I say that I don't miss it as much because I have the Forza Horizon series, right? And that while there are aspects of Dub Edition that have not been recreated in Forza Horizon specifically, that enough of it has been surpassed by Forza Horizon that I don't know that I could go back to Dub Edition and say, this is giving me everything that I want in a way that Forza is not. So I think that if I had to choose between the two, even a remastered version or a rebooted version of Dub Edition would not be the equal to a Forza Horizon game. But that being said, there are no equals to Silent Hill. Silent Hill was a whole new thing when it was released, and there are probably 2, maybe even 3 generations of gamers who have never experienced that game. And you can reboot that story for new legions of gamers, and it'll be like they're playing it for the very first time, because they are, and even those players that did play it initially will have a new experience, because some of the techniques that they use and the tools that were cutting edge then are old hat now, and you're using new cutting edge tools to have some similar effects that you had in the original game.
Mike?
The thing with Silent Hill here, Cicero, is that like you're bringing up a game that has just been rumored so much to be either sequeled or a remake, whatever, and I'm kind of getting tired of it. I'm just like, can we just, I mean, this has been the loudest hill that I've heard in the past like 8 years.
I see what you did there.
And so what would be more surprising, a remaster, a remake of Silent Hill or of Dub Edition? It'd be Midnight Club Dub Edition. And it'd just be fun to relive those times. A simpler racing game that had a really good soundtrack, engaging story with ray tracing.
All right. Cicero, you won.
All right, sure.
It was a good battle,
Yeah.
but I mean, Cicero just argued so well for a horror game that I know he's not even going to play, and I wanted to play it. I don't want to play it.
No, you
but I
didn't.
wanted to when he was
Stop
talking
it.
about it. Hey, I'm trying here. I got control on the console. We're gonna play through it a little bit until it scares me too much to play anymore. But no, Cicero just did such a good job with Silent Hill and just explaining everything, walking us through, and he really did make me want to play a game that I have no intentions of ever playing, ever, especially if it's as immersive as you say it is. Like, no, thank you. But you sold me on it, and that was huge. Mike, huge. Obviously, you know how much I love Midnight Club Dub Edition, and how huge I was for it because we were arguing about it in the last episode, and how much I loved it. Like,
yeah.
I love that game. I would kill for an updated version, especially because the most favorite thing for me in that game is all of the car enhancements and the graphics and the underglow and the things that they don't have in Forza that I would love for them to put in. I'm always looking for that as an ad. I know it wouldn't cost them anything to add that into Forza. They just don't want to do it because it's campy and old school and only the old guys want it.
Yeah, it's not part of car culture anymore.
Well, they need to add it. It would be one DLC for like $5. I would spend $5 on that DLC. Give me some underglow. But no, Cicero, that was a great answer. Again, I do not want to play that game, but I want to play it.
All right.
Next one, back to EA, because they're making moves, apparently. EA and Smite, the devs, have signed a deal that could potentially bring TV-style commercials to games. We aren't going to debate if that's a good idea because, come on now, we know it's not. Like, hello. Ready Player One, just an idea. So, no, Sorrento, you disgusting people.
And that's your Ready Player One reference for the podcast.
For today, right?
EA is turning into IOI. Yes, okay. Moving on from the Ready Player One reference. If you haven't read that, listeners, please read it, listen to it. Read by Will Wheaton. So good. Audible, if you want to hit us up, you can find it on there. Will Wheaton totally does it. Anyways, commercials and games are poopy, and this is family friendly, so I'm going to say poopy one more time, and you can take it from there. It's not a good idea. What we are going to debate, however, is what commercial should be the first one in a game. I hate that question. But anyways, Mike, you're up first. You can either choose to answer or pass the torch. So what are you going to do?
There's so many commercials out. So I'm gonna pass it off to Cicero. Let's see what he's got first.
Wait a minute. All right. So what are we really debating here? Are we debating like a commercial that we've seen, a 30-second commercial?
Yes.
That we've seen that should be turned into a game?
A commercial in the history of commercials that you believe should just be the first advertised in a game. So we're debating what would be the better commercial.
Basically, yeah. What's the best commercial of all time, and should it get a spot in the video game, or should it be the first ever in-game commercial in a game? Okay, I get it now. All right, well, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna name the commercial, and I'm gonna name the game for which the commercial should have been in that game. Okay.
How about that?
That's fair.
So,
I like it.
I'm going to say a recent commercial. Actually, in fact, I just saw this commercial for the very first time yesterday. Peek behind the curtain yesterday was Independence Day, the 4th of July. And I saw a commercial starring Bill Pullman reprising his role as the president from the 25th anniversary film, the 25-year-old film, Independence Day, ID4, where he makes his valiant speech to the world that we shall not go quietly in the night. We shall never give up the fight. And we shall celebrate today, not as America's Independence Day, but the world's Independence Day, right? And it's a Budweiser commercial.
So naturally, that's what you have to use to celebrate it.
Go forth, America. Fourth being the number, right? And it's a great commercial. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch that commercial. That commercial should be utilized in the, I think, kind of underrated game, Homefront, the first-person shooter, where Koreans, like a unified Korea from the Korean Peninsula, took over the western part of the United States. So this commercial should be in the game from the president as a way to get people to like rally them to fight before the last big battle.
Okay.
But it's hidden as a commercial.
All right, Mike. What commercial should be in? And you can choose a game if you want to.
Yeah,
as well.
I'm getting hats off to Cicero for evolving the question that I wrote because I really, really enjoy the angle. Inside baseball,
So-
I write the outline, but Jelly and Cicero make it better. So
I just try. I don't really do anything.
anyway,
I read the words on a page.
So what's funny is that the commercial that I was going to argue for literally has a perfect fit for a game. So I'm gonna roll with it, Cicero. Thank you for once again
Okay.
evolving
Yeah,
the
no
question.
problem.
Okay. There is a game series that it's plenty well loved by plenty of people, a plethora of people, if you might let me use that word.
Nope.
Sure.
Keep going.
Wow. That's how it is. There's
You
a
said
series
plenty
that a
too many
lot of
times.
people love, and there's a new one of the series coming out this October, and that is Far Cry. And I don't know if you know this, but Far Cry has kind of an odd entry to the series, but certainly one that is kind of underrated from some and one that is liked. And that's Far Cry Primal, where you are a caveman.
Yeah.
We should have the Geico caveman commercials in Far Cry Primal.
When they didn't have TVs?
Yes, because we're just advertising things. It don't matter. Let me tell you, we're just connecting the two. There's just gonna be Far Cry Primal. You're gonna be like hunting a saber-tooth tiger or something like that, a woolly mammoth or whatever, and
Right.
you're gonna stab that woolly mammoth, and there's gonna be that VCR static, the gray like that just cuts the scene, and then it's gonna go to the original Neanderthal commercial in Geico where he's holding the microphone above the guy trying to do a Geico commercial. He says a Neanderthal joke and he up and quits right then and there and just leaves. Man,
Oh, man.
let me tell you, the Geico caveman commercials are a staple of when I was growing up watching TV. They're extremely funny. They're extremely they're short but sweet and just out of place and just super funny. And what more out of place than in a video game should you show a Geico commercial? And plus, you're saving 50% or more.
Huh?
All right.
15 minutes or less? Okay.
Yeah.
I am gonna make a ruling.
You're
You're going to make a ruling already. All right. All right.
I feel like that's been enough, right?
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
choose
Okay.
out two commercials.
Sure.
The Bill Pullman
Right.
was. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
both
yeah.
you both
Right.
made a very good case for your commercials.
Right.
and you
He
put it
he
in the
made a
game.
case. He made a fake case for
A fake case?
commercial.
What?
Yeah. No, he made a
He
he
did
made
try
a
to sneak
case.
it in there. I heard that.
He did. He made a case for a commercial that existed before electricity existed.
Yeah.
A TV commercial before electricity. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sure enough. All right. All right.
He did.
All right. All right.
So you both lose, obviously.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
There's so many great commercials that you could have put in
Right.
a game,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just horrified that no one did the weather for the first ever. Because how annoying is it that commercials would go into a video game, and then you put one of the most annoying commercials in a video game to just. I mean, you're squaring the
Jelly,
annoyment.
we're not asking you to
So-
nitpick our arguments. We're just asking you to judge
I'm
here.
doing it. I'm
Right.
doing it. So the fact that no one chose the weather
Okay.
for the commercial,
I chose a Budweiser commercial.
He did choose a Budweiser commercial. No, I think it needs to. I think Bill Pullman is a better commercial. I think that it was really well made. It's really well done. I think it'll fit in the home front really well.
I haven't even seen it.
As much as
You haven't even played that game. So
I have not, but I've seen Red Dawn.
There you go. There you go.
Which is what it's based
yeah.
on.
Yep.
No, I think that's a great commercial. I think it'll fit. I love the idea of throwing a Caveman and the Primal series. Don't make me accordion hand you, okay? You just. But you're wrong.
all right, fine.
It's huge. No, I think it's a better commercial. I think it'll fit in that game really well, and I love the fact that that he put it into a game where America's fighting for its freedom against a unified Korea. So, Cicero, great argument, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
I enjoy those commercials; they're fantastic. I just don't think they're the. I don't think that's the answer. That's just how
Caveman. The Geico Caveman also had a sitcom.
He did.
Where the cavemen, where the
He
cavemen were in present day. I watched that sitcom.
All right,
That's all I have to say about that.
That's something you get to say.
Yes, that is the thing I get to say.
Yeah.
Yep. Whew. Did not know about that. All right, on to the next one. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
Took a big breath like I was going to read something. I just wanted to ask if you were ready. All right, one more
Okay.
time. Okay. GTA 6 shouldn't be expected until 2024 or 2025, which we're recording this in 2021, so that's a little ways out. What Rockstar game should be revived in the meantime? Mike, you have the power.
He's
Do
already.
you want to take it and answer, or do you want to pass it off, make Cicero answer, and then come back and beat him down with your answer?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
Ooh,
can't
alright.
steal your answer.
Yeah. So listen, Far Cry Primal.
Right. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, guys. It's Ubisoft, obviously. I'm just gonna grab a game here because I actually own this game that needs to be revived,
Okay.
and people actually. I've listened to podcasts where this game has been randomly mentioned that Rockstar needs to bring back, and so I'm just bringing the vibes.
I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
Rockstar I stole Cicero's. Thank you very much. Rockstar Table Tennis, guys. Okay. First of all, this game is phenomenal. Rockstar, this heavy hitter in like storytelling, like in Max Payne 3 was really good. I mean, we're talking about Red Dead Redemption. We're talking about the GTAs. Rockstar in their heavy storytelling gameplay mechanics, they decide to take a break and they make a launch Xbox 360 game, Rockstar Table Tennis, and it is one of the best sports games ever made. I don't know if it would crack my top 10.
And that's high praise.
Yeah, that's high praise. I don't know if that would crack my top 10, but you see Cicero nodding if you're watching the video version, because the mechanics that they built into the game, the gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay it's just phenomenal. There is no other game, table tennis or tennis in general, really, that has honestly recreated that feeling. Rockstar Table Tennis is in a class of its own. It is a fantastic game, and they should just revitalize it, man. It is so good.
All right, Cicero, Rockstar. What game are they bringing back?
I mean, evidenced by the exclamation that I made when he pulled out this. I was hoping, I was convinced that there was no way that my answer would be topped.
Maybe it hasn't. I'm the judge here.
Right.
So.
But he gave my answer. I'm almost willing to concede because he gave the answer that I was going to give. Rockstar Table Tennis, by the way, I just want to help him out a little, was the debut of the Rage engine. The animation engine that Rockstar used for GTA 4 and then perfected in GTA 5 was debuted in Rockstar Presents Table Tennis. So, yeah, that was 100% going to be my answer. When I was a retail salesperson at a video game shop where you stopped for games, it was consistently a game that I would recommend to people that were looking for a game that was under a certain dollar amount because it was so good. And, I loved being able to shock people by saying, this is the game that you have to get, and then waiting for those people to return a week later saying, holy crap, you were right. That game was awesome. And the price was right. But since Mike has already taken that game, since he's decided that that is the game that they need to reboot, I'm going to say that the game that Rockstar needs to reboot is Midnight Club Dub Edition. Los Angeles. Because they've learned a lot since the last time they've made a driving game. They need, just like they used Rockstar's Table Tennis in the 360 era to kind of debut their animation engine for their new Grand Theft Auto game. They're one of the complaints about GTA 5 was the driving mechanics. They needed to be a little bit better. They could have been, a little bit more precise. Well, what if Rockstar decides to use this time to perfect a new driving engine? And Rockstar uses Dub Edition, or what's new in car culture? What if they're deciding, we're gonna do the Indy e-racing, Formula E racetracks, and we're gonna have electronic cars in our games, and we'll be tricking those out, and you'll have to charge them at charge stations or whatever it is that they were doing, but they can use the racing engine from Rockstar's games to go into GTA 6.
All right,
Double edition.
Mike, any
Yeah, I mean,
hit back on that?
first of all, Cicero has obviously already pumped up my argument. So, I mean, you choose to use that if you would like, Jelly, but
I'll take it into consideration.
Yes.
I mean, and not to beat a dead horse or anything, but as Cicero so astutely stated in one of our previous arguments, there's already Forza Horizon. Like, that is Dub Edition now, and that is the pinnacle of arcade racing right now. And on top of it, like as Cicero already alluded to, GTA Online, despite maybe some people don't prefer the mechanics of racing in there, GTA Online already has a robust racing community, and I know that for a fact. So they're already working on a quote unquote racing style game in that sense, because it's already alive and well in GTA 5. Rockstar Table Tennis, it is challenging, it is fun, it is unique. There isn't another table tennis game that has captured the magic that has. I say it's challenging because you start off in beginner levels, and as you continue to grow your skills, the AI in the game is no joke. It is certainly not dumb. It continues to challenge you and grow you as a competitor in that game, and it is one of the best launch titles ever to come to a system. Rockstar Table Tennis, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Cicero, you want to say something before I make a ruling?
I absolutely want to say something before you make a ruling.
I thought you might.
Yeah. So what Mike was able to do was help to accentuate a couple of things. The first is that GTA Online has displayed that there is a robust racing community within the GTA ecosystem. He's also fairly illustrated with his arguments of my arguments to his argument that Forza Horizon,
Like Sean Wallace.
yeah, Forza Horizon is the king of the arcade racer currently. That this is the game that is the standard. They're the standard bearer in arcade racing. Well, you know what? Sometimes, in order for you to prove that you are the best, the king of the hill, you've got to face some challengers. Right now, Forza Horizon has no challengers, but Rockstar could come in with Midnight Club and be that challenger, right? And so, yeah, the GTA Online community has shown that there is an appetite for racing within the GTA community, but just because there is a robust racing scene in GTA Online doesn't mean that the racing is good. It just means people are good at the bad mechanics in that game. So if you make a game with better racing mechanics, if you build a better racing engine, you can build better racers and you can have better races even within GTA Online once they incorporate the new race engine from Dub Edition in this game, in those games.
Or they just make another
Competition.
tabletop tennis game and they don't have to compete with anybody.
Competition is
They're
always
already on
good.
top.
And Rockstar is not one to shy away from
Oh,
competition.
shut up. I stole your answer.
All
You
right.
did, but I came up with a better one, baby. Cacao.
This was arguably my favorite debate. This was good because no, Mike, you took his answer straight up, and he was in disbelief, visible disbelief
Yes.
for the people on
Yes.
YouTube. You saw that. He
Yes.
was floored, in shock. For the people
Floored.
listening in podcast land, you guys
You heard the
it.
no.
You heard the
Oh,
no.
yeah, I heard it. Yes, it was inconceivable.
Right.
Yes. Now, Mike, you argued very well. Very well. And Cicero, you bolstered his argument really well. You almost won it for him right off the bat. But then you came back. You thought about it for a minute. You said, hey, wait. No, there's one. And you were like, I know. Midnight Club. Obviously, Jelly has already professed his love over that series. So that's an easy win, right? We're going to come back. And you almost sold me on it. You were like, this is it. This is the one. They're going to bring back everything. And not only are they're going to make it better. They're going to make a better driving engine. They're going to make a better game. They're going to be able to give Jelly his underglow again. And you almost won it. If you hadn't jumped in and bolstered the argument for Mike in the beginning, maybe you would have won it. You both sang the tabletop thing way too high of praise. I've never played it. Obviously, I
man.
need to give it a
Yeah,
whirl.
So good.
Yeah.
It's backwards compatible.
but-
Go grab it. $5
Yeah.
at GameStop. Sorry,
no,
the place
that-
where you
that
stop
wins.
and get games.
Where you stop for games.
All right. So, Mike, congratulations.
Thank
It
you.
is the tabletop. This leads us
The
into
Rockstar presents tabletop tennis.
tabletop tennis. It'll blow everyone's mind a second time.
The tennis is on the tabletop.
Now,
We're not playing beer pong here or anything. It's just
Right?
like-
Stovetop
that could be
tennis.
part of it, though. Should that be a DLC for it? Is it not tabletop tennis? Did I say something weird?
It's
You're
table
killing me.
tennis.
table tennis.
Is it?
Table
It's
tennis.
not tabletop tennis?
We're not playing a tennis RPG.
Who plays
here.
table?
We're not playing
My
tennis
bad.
tabletop
D&D.
tennis? Right.
I call it ping pong. Not
He's a
table
rogue
tennis.
side judge. Right?
Anyways,
He's a thief.
I'm gonna keep trying to move this forward so we can get away from this embarrassing moment I just suffered.
Can we just skip to leaderboard?
No, sir.
Lob
There's
the
a-
lightning bolt. Lob
There's a
lightning bolts.
blind fight that I worked very hard on here.
No, I'm here for it. I'm right here.
Oh man!
All right. So, in the beginning of this podcast, we talked about my favorite puzzle game, which is Portal. And Portal has a beautiful AI system named Gladys. And Gladys is just wonderful, right? Totally not trying to kill humanity.
No,
and
not at
make
all.
everything horrible.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And
Absolutely.
such a sweetheart. She is my favorite part about that game. I love it.
Yes.
Which made me think about some other AIs in games and some other robots, if you will, because Gladys, while she is an AI, has some robotic control over instruments. And I was thinking, what other AIs are great out there? Well, we've got Halo with Cortana, right? That's a pretty good one.
Right.
And then I was struggling to think of another one, and I was like, I played Borderlands, which has a CO4TP, also known as Claptrap.
Yes, sir.
Boom.
He's annoying.
So the argument is, who is the better robotic AI for your adventure? And now the adventure is specific to the game in which it exists. So who's the better AI in the game? Mike, you won the last argument, so Cicero, you get to choose first. Is Cortana a better adventure mate, or is Claptrap a better adventure mate? Mike, what are you doing?
Because if he chooses
So
first and he chooses
Right,
Cortana, I lose.
No, you just have to make a good argument for Claptrap.
You just have to make a good argument for
I
Claptrap.
can't. He's so annoying. He's like the C-3PO of Borderlands.
Well, let's hope he chooses Claptrap.
So then, I mean, so all right. So listeners, what should I do? Should I give Mike his choice, or should I make the obvious choice and choose Cortana? Jelly, I'd like to make my choice.
Yes, sir. I'm here. And I'm listening.
And my choice is I'm gonna choose Claptrap. I'm just that kind of G.
All right.
He always,
just that
Cicero
kind of G.
always does this.
Right.
He's about to beat you with the one that you said was C3PO.
Probably,
C3PO.
because
Oh
I'm
my
not prepared for this argument.
So what?
How
So
could you
I
be?
am
That's the beauty
arguing.
of a blind fight.
Right. So I'm arguing why Claptrap is the better companion
For the specific adventure. in
for
which
the
he
specific
exists.
adventure
Yes.
for which he exists. Because for whatever reason, no one knows the mysteries of what's going on in Pandora except for Claptrap. Claptrap knows everything. He
does.
knows everything. Also, I'll just throw this out there so you can defend this part, Mike. Claptrap never betrays you. Right? He's kind of a jerk to you the entire time, but you never feel like, oh man, I thought Claptrap had my back, and now Claptrap's trying to clap me.
That
Right?
was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cicero's got jokes. He's got jokes.
We all a bunch of dads. Of course he does.
Yeah. Right. So Claptrap, man.
All right. Mike, you did not like the idea of Claptrap being your adventure companion.
I didn't.
Through the Borderlands.
And here's the reason why is because like I have played some Borderlands. I've never really beaten the games, and so like I don't think I could have effectively argued it. I can maybe effectively argue Cortana, so we'll see. I'll get to defending what your biggest argument there was. Okay, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Master Chief is nobody without Cortana, right? And that's really what the first trilogy was built upon, right? The adventure in which Master Chief goes on, Cortana is there side by side with him, chip by brain. It's just but regardless, Cortana is there with him. She is there for his ups and downs. She is there for his woes. She is there for every single little grunt that he happy birthdays right into the head, and it goes yay with all the confetti. See, I gotcha. Cortana is there. and Cortana has sound advice. Cortana has the ability to help Chief whenever he needs it, almost like a confidant. And that's what you really get as you go through this adventure through, I'll say 1 through 4, right? Where Master Chief is really developing a good relationship with the companion that he has chosen. And yeah, Cicero, you mentioned that Cortana does portray him, and true, that is. But what companions do is they give the person a reason to fight for them. And that's what Cortana does. And as you saw in the Xbox Bethesda showcase this past month, you saw that Chief, even though Cortana is gone, even though Cortana is not going to be his companion for most of that game, he realizes that Cortana is somebody to fight for. And that's what a good companion does. Claptrap, I really don't want to fight for him. He's so annoying. Just like, get off my screen. I don't want you around. Yeah, he might be the all-knowing robot of Pandora. But is he really a friend? No. And that's what you're searching for in companions. And that's what you get with Cortana.
Are you really searching for someone to be there for you at all? Like, I'm not looking for Claptrap to be my friend. I'm just looking, I need information. He happens to have that information. And during the course of our adventures together, Claptrap realizes that I've got a benefit as well to him. There are things that he knows but goals he can't accomplish, that he sets me out on, that aid him, and things like him. Like, Claptrap winds up getting a boo because I'm able to put his boo back together, right? And so, like, we have a symbiotic relationship where we show that we need each other, right? And it's not just me leaning on the companion or fighting for the companion or having to save the companion. Those are all old tropes that you're holding on to, and you're using those tropes to try and push and trudge our way through a storytelling beat. But, you know, all of the thing that makes Borderlands so great, the franchise, is how subversive it is. And so you've got this robot, and he's ultimately kind of helpless, but he's also not helpless because he's got the information, and that's important. That makes him valuable, and he's able to aid you in doing robot stuff like, oh, hey, I can do this because I'm a robot. And he does it, and then he's like, hey, I can't fight, so I'm going to stay out of the way. I'm not going to sit there as you're fighting and try and talk to you, have a conversation, ask you, where is this going? What are we doing? What are we doing right now? Are you going to meet my mother? You know, like, none of that stuff is happening the same way that Cortana was trying to get all up in your business, and you were having a will they, won't they with Cortana. You're not having any will they, won't they's with Claptrap. You're just getting information. It's business transactions. Let's go through Pandora. Let's get that treasure, and let's keep it moving.
You say the word tropes, and yes, whatever, you could use that word, but what you're seeing in the story of Master Chief and Cortana is tried and true storytelling that works. And we're talking about the word companion here. The understanding of companion is mutual respect and love, right? You talk about a dog, right? A dog is a companion to its humans, and it's because they have a mutual love and understanding and respect for each other. And that's what you get with Cortana and Master Chief. Claptrap is not somebody that you want to confide in, not somebody that you want really helping, because in all, he is kind of useless. Whereas at least Cortana as an AI is continuing to help shape your character, mold you into a better Master Chief, and ultimately, yes, become somebody worth fighting for because of that love that you have for her.
Yeah, him saying that Claptrap is not useful was like the times where I had to argue about Pokemon stuff, and Mike knew immediately. He was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." I'm not gonna say that Mike doesn't know what he's talking about, but I'm just gonna say that he just called Claptrap not useful. That he's kind of useless. But if you play Borderlands,
I have played enough Borderlands that Claptrap is not really around.
Gavel down. So I like this question. Obviously, I made it. I loved it, Cicero. You chose Claptrap and gave Mike Cortana. I think right off the bat, Cicero, you won this one, and you won this one for one specific reason. You stuck to the question and what I asked, which was the better robot or AI for the adventure in which they exist. You explained perfectly why. He is absolutely necessary. You cannot do things, and you cannot advance through the game without him. You cannot advance through your story or adventure without him. He is solely responsible for you getting from point A to point B in many cases. You explain that. Mike, you have not played all the way through them. I have played through Borderlands 1 and 2 now, and I know that he is incredibly, incredibly useful, and not only useful, but necessary. Mike, you gave a great explanation of why Cortana was the better AI, but not for the adventure in which she exists. You gave for why she exists. Okay. And for the betterment of Master Chief.
That's the adventure.
But,
I'm sorry.
The betterment of Master Chief, volumes 1, 2, and 3.
You didn't explain why she was the better AI for the adventure. Like, sure, she's shaping him into a better person, and she's a friend for him to talk to and all this stuff. But you didn't explain what she did in the environment that he exists. He's a soldier.
He's in her head. She's there.
You're saying Katana is Ileana Van Zandt, right? She's just gonna fix his life.
All I'm saying is that
I disagree with your judgment on my argument. It's fine that you give this.
When Tony Stark is in his suit and he's talking to Jarvis, and Jarvis is in his head, quote unquote, right? Right. Jarvis isn't just there to be someone to talk to. He has a purpose, and I feel like you failed to explain her purpose beyond being there for him, and the fact that she can actually help him and aid him in these things.
She was the person making sure he doesn't fall asleep on the side of the road as he's driving on the road trip in the truck. But yeah, what does she do? What does she do to help the suit?
She's
put her on air conditioning.
Yeah.
Does she like?
I'm sure she manages all of that, but Mike didn't say any of it.
No, she doesn't. It's her, whatever.
Her whole purpose is just to be a voice in his head.
Have you played the Halo games?
I have. Only 1 and 2, though. I never made it past that.
Yeah, I played them all. I will say
then
that.
My argument is right.
No, yes. I would say that your argument about the dynamics of their relationship are right.
Yeah, I'm just saying you failed to explain why she was the most important for the adventure.
Katana could have been a hologram that existed outside of him, and a robot that existed outside of him, and all of those same things would have been true about Cortana, but she didn't do anything to help. Like, she didn't talk to other AIs really. She didn't,
Okay, so I'm interpreting the Chief's adventure as saving the world, yes, but Cortana can't save the world, right? So she is helping him in that adventure of becoming the Master Chief that he needs to be. I think she's more of an emotion. I think
she's his therapist.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
and in that game, in my opinion, I think she's more of an emotional AI than she is, I'm going to open this door for you. So I think you missed my argument a little bit, but okay.
She opens the doors to his heart.
Sure.
To his mind.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
To his
Whatever.
mind.
Jelly judges.
I like
It's
it.
all good.
Yeah.
I think
Claptrap.
Cicero came back from underneath, defended Claptrap very well, explained exactly why he was important and the adventure existed, and gave many reasons to point
Okay.
to that. So, Cicero, you took the dub on that one.
There you go.
And that brings us to the leaderboard section. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. Today's leaderboard is top 5 N64 games, and nobody takes mine. I get to choose it. Please don't steal it from me. But Cicero, you always go
Majora's
first, and
Mask.
that's how we're going to keep it. No, that's Sean Wright.
Top 5 N64 games where I can't. All right, you know what? I won't even pick GoldenEye because Jelly wants to, I guess, right?
No, mine's Ocarina of Time.
GoldenEye is not your pick.
No,
Mike,
I
did you
can
want
pick any other
You could
games,
pick
but
GoldenEye.
you can't
Mike,
have
did you
Ocarina of
want to
Time.
pick
Go
GoldenEye?
ahead, Cicero.
No? Okay. Then I will pick GoldenEye because somebody's got to pick GoldenEye. So
Obviously.
since I'm first, I will pick GoldenEye first. Then I will pick. What other games did I have fun with my friends with on the 64? I am going to pick Star Fox 64
All right.
Okay.
as a very fun multiplayer game. The last game on my list, also a very fun multiplayer game on the Nintendo 64. And that is WWF No Mercy.
There you go.
Oh, not Raw?
No,
Yeah.
No Mercy. man.
No Mercy.
Oh.
No Mercy was the better one.
Yeah.
I only had Raw. I couldn't have both of them.
Oh,
Too
man.
expensive.
No Mercy.
All right, Mike, top 3 N64 game.
Yeah.
Your top 3 for the top 5.
So Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Good one.
Just extremely funny, extremely funny rare game. So super good. I'm gonna go Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love Pokemon Stadium, man. One of my favorite games. Loved it.
I loved it for Dotrio mode.
And then, Jelly's gonna pick 1080. So I'm gonna. Oh no, I thought he was an SSX guy more, but regardless.
I am at 1080, but
okay.
they're both good.
You know what? I had some superstar fun with Mario Party 2, so I'm gonna go with that one. Mario Party 2, I believe Mario Party 7 on the GameCube is really good, but Mario Party 2 was the pinnacle of my experience with it.
Okay.
All right. We all knew I was taking it, but Zelda Ocarina of Time. Come on now.
All right. Yeah.
I love that game endlessly. I have several different versions of it. One on my PC, one on the N64, I have simulators. I have to be able to play it. It is my favorite Zelda game. So Zelda Ocarina of Time, it was an easy one. Also, the best Mario Kart 64.
Wrong.
Needs to be on there. You guys always say, but no, it's true. More people had way more fun on 64 than anywhere else
Not the
because I'm
best
old
Mario
and other things don't exist. It's by far superior to anything, especially nowadays. Even the Wii and the whatever this Switch thing is that I have here in front of me. And for the last one, I do want to choose 1080. However, I also really liked Perfect Dark.
That's a good one too.
But we have GoldenEye, and that's a shooter.
Right.
I'm doing
From
1080.
Rare. Right.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so of our top 9, which include GoldenEye 007, Star Fox 64, WWF No Mercy, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Pokemon Stadium, Mario Party 2, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, and 1080. Cicero, what's your must-have?
Man, listen, this is the hardest top 5 we've ever had,
Really?
as far as I'm concerned.
I
The
think
hardest.
you might be right.
The hardest, because I don't know how to pick.
There's not a bad game here.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
A
true.
good
Right.
game is getting cut no matter what.
Right. So, like I'm looking at my list, and I've got a very, very sweet spot for No Mercy. So No Mercy has to make my list.
WWE No Mercy is your must-have.
WWF
my bad,
No
my
Mercy. No
Federation.
Mercy. That's right. Right.
All right, Mike. What is your must-have?
I honestly, just because it's near and dear to my heart, I think Pokemon Stadium needs to be on there.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was the console version of Pokemon, right? I mean, the true Pokemon, and your ability to bring six Pokemon to battle against people. Yeah, super fun.
Oh yeah, I used to love hooking two controllers and playing against my buddy.
Oh yeah.
Every time I went over to his house. Obviously, I didn't have it, but he did, and it was amazing. Such a fun way to play Pokemon as well with the sped up. I mean, that was before, if you didn't have a Game Shark or something like that to speed up, or an emulator like we do nowadays, there was no way to speed up your Pokemon game. The only way was to have the cartridge adapter for your N64 controller and be able to plug that bad boy in. All right. Ocarina of Time has to make it on there.
Sure.
Of course it does.
I'm not afraid that it won't, but I'm going to put it on there anyways, because I think out of my three, the other two are weaker. I could choose one and cheat and steal a position, but risking Ocarina of Time wouldn't be worth it to me. So Zelda is my my number one, has to be on there. Now, what else needs to be on there? And I do mean needs, because we're down to the cutting phase. It's got to be unanimous.
I feel like GoldenEye has to be on there.
Yeah. GoldenEye has to be on that. Yeah.
I can't argue against it. Way too many hours of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't
And we're
know,
down to our
like
final slot.
I didn't play much Star Fox growing up. So
Right, okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, to me, Star Fox 64 is the weakest on this whole list. That's to
Fair.
me. That's to me.
Yep.
Fair.
I never played Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Okay. It is in the rare replay.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
backwards compatible. You can go ahead and play
Game
it there.
Pass.
It does not look good, but
wouldn't
actually it looks
expect it
it
to.
looks
It looks better in
looks
rare
better
replay.
than yes, it does look better in rare replay than actually some of the other games that did have remasters.
Yeah.
So
And then I also never played Mario Party 2. So y'all will have to tell me about those and if they beat out either of mine.
Yeah. So
Mario Kart 64 and 1080.
I don't know, Scissor, I don't know if you want to bolster Conker's Bad Fur Day a little bit, but like just the fact that, I mean, Cicero, you weren't necessarily a kid, but the fact that I was a kid playing this game and it just, took, it had some crude humor, some funny humor.
Yeah.
Pretty good platforming, I'd say. I mean, it's not a Super Mario Odyssey, but but it it was up to snuff with the Banjos of the day and the Marios of the day, and just not taking itself too seriously. I thought the humor bolsters that up a lot, right? Oh, and the fur, like the fur was top notch back in the day.
They so Rare did an incredible job of finding the line and dancing right on the edge of that line for a Nintendo game.
Yes.
So this was the only Nintendo game that was potentially, I think they wound up banning it for rent at Blockbuster Video. So because it was like, risque and potentially raunchy, that is definitely something to hold its hat, hold it not in contempt, but like, I guess not in contempt, but to like hang its hat on for a Nintendo 64 title, to like be close to being banned is a thing. So that was cool. And it was a very good and competent platformer with a goofy story that kids in the day were like, ooh,
Ooh.
right. I'm playing something that I probably shouldn't be playing.
I had a lot of fun with 1080. Mario Party 2 was a staple. All 4 controllers hooked up. So I don't know.
So my argument is going to be at the very least that the Nintendo 64 was the last console that I regularly played 4 people on, with all 4 controllers plugged in.
Oh yeah.
I did it on occasion on the PS1 with an adapter. Did it on occasion with the PS2 even. But yeah, Nintendo
Xbox?
64 was. Oh yeah, I mean, I wound up. Yes, I did wind up doing it with Halo, kind of LAN parties, playing
we LAN
doing like somebody had like a 60-inch 4x3 screen, and we would all play Halo on one console, and you couldn't look at other people's screens and stuff like that. But so the N64 was the last console where I played multiple sets of games. So like each of the other consoles, there was like 1 or 2 games where there were 3 or 4 player games that we could play, and we'd wind up playing couch co-op or couch competitive in those games. But the 64 had there were like a dozen games where if me and 3 of my boys were,
because we have GoldenEye,
yes,
WWF,
GoldenEye,
Mario Party
No
2,
Mercy,
Mario Kart,
right?
All of those were multiplayer.
1080 was 1080 4 players, or it was just 2 players?
For sure 2 might have been 4, but I think for sure 2.
Right. So Star Fox 64 was, all of my games were 4-player multiplayer games. GoldenEye, Star Fox, and No Mercy were all games that you could play for 4 people on the couch. Mario Party 2, obviously, you could play. Mario Kart 64. Did Conquer have a multiplayer? Was there a multiplayer component on Conquer's Bad Fur Day? I don't remember.
There wasn't.
Okay.
There was only it was on the Xbox, the fully reloaded one, or the reload one.
That's the one that had it?
That's one that had the multiplayer. Yep.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. No. The one for the 64 also was 1 to 4 players.
Okay.
It did have multiplayer. I'm looking at the box right now. There are 4 controllers on there.
Okay.
So
so which one gets
so it also had a multiplayer component. So the 64 was the last console where it was like, oh yeah, hey, I've got 3 of me and 3 of my friends are hanging out. I've got a bunch of these big plastic cartridges sitting around, and these unwieldy controllers. Let's go ahead and play some games, and we'll play them for hours on end. And that was awesome. So my soft spot for the 64 is in multiplayer games. So I'm going to look at the multiplayer games as the ones that deserve to be on this list. So either Mario Kart 64 or Mario Party 2 from my perspective.
All right. I know, Mike, you prefer Party 2. Explain to me why it's better in 10 seconds, and then maybe I'll be the unanimous decision.
It's variety. I mean, Mario Kart 64, you're going around a circle just racing. There's boxes, there's variety of the racer, I guess, but you have mini games, you have competition. and just different variety in Mario Party 2.
All right, Mario Party 2.
All right.
There it is. We did it.
We did it.
I agree. This is the hardest top 5 that we've had to narrow down.
That was, yeah.
At least it was the closest to my heart. I think the 64
Right.
was the system I played more than anything else. Even till today, maybe surpassed by Xbox. But
You play a lot of Apex.
I tell you what, I don't think it even gets close to the hours I spent playing like GoldenEye Mario Kart.
Wow.
I don't think it even compares.
Wow.
I used to game way too hard back in the day. I mean, I had 4 siblings, and that was a console that we could all grab a controller and we could figuratively whoop each other's butts instead of having to literally whoop each other's butts, because that's what happened if we weren't playing the video games. We would fight. So it was a way for us to maybe not beat each other up so much and instead beat each other up virtually. I absolutely love the N64. This was by far the hardest leaderboard for me. Our top 5, ladies and gentlemen out there listening: WWF No Mercy, Pokemon Stadium, Zelda Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye 007, and Mario Party 2. Please let us know where we got it wrong and tell us what you would have put in its place. Again, hit us up on our socials: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want. We're on Patreon. We check that too. If you want to go give us a like over there, maybe support us financially as little as $1 a month. Please leave us a review wherever you're listening to us at. And we love you guys. And thank you for coming back. This has been Test Your Might. Gentlemen, that's a wrap.
It is.
Party on, Wayne.
And party on, Garth. Gar.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Hi.